Okay, we'll talk, and mostly I'll point those out in the direction that are good self-learners with a little support. We'll talk about Inventor a little bit on and off throughout the rest of the semester. It's available on most of the computers on campus. You can get a free download, and so the basics basically we'll go through later, but I'm just going to go to a new part here. We're going to grab a part. A part is the base file for a Inventor file, and when you bring in that part, it's going to bring you up to this 2D world, a flat sketch. You deal in 2D sketches and 3D sketches, and you keep them separate. I have gone ahead and changed my color the last time, so it's coming in white. So I'm going to now go ahead and insert into this part an Autocad file, and I'm going to one particular thing that's incredibly important, and that is simple block here. As I bring this in, I'm going to go slowly, and remember to click on the part where it says convert Autocad blocks to sketch blocks. Now what I think I didn't do in the last drawing was to constrain and dimension, and you'll start seeing that we're going to do that as well. That's going to make it even better when you start transferring these things around. It will carry the dimensioning with you. But as we look into here, we're going to go ahead and we'll select all. You can't see, but I'm clicking down here. I'm saying next, and the key thing here is to show you to apply Autocad blocks to Inventor blocks. That's the key. That is the key. So now when this comes in, you've brought in those 3 flat blocks, which for all reality you're going to ignore in a second. So you can just get rid of them all. And so you brought in those 3 blocks, and we're going to go and finish the sketch. And when we do that, we're going to get rid of everything anyway. We're going to kind of take all these things and go back to our sketch, and we're going to go ahead and grab them all and delete them. Right click, delete. We do this for this reason. We're only going to bring in 1 block at a time, and then we're going to do something called extruding. So we're going to bring in, basically we can bring in that side piece if we want, and we're going to go ahead and just drag it over to here. We'll bring in the side piece first, and then we'll just say finish sketch. Once we hit here, we're going to hit an F, and I'm going to change right now something about, I'm going to pause and change some of my settings so you can see a little bit better. But in this, you'll see we're going to start doing these extrudes. So I'm going to pause to change the background. All right, that's what we've got. Now we're in here, and we can go about and start to do some extrudes individually on these pieces. And you'll see, because of the way this works, we're going to do one, and then we're going to do another. So I'm going to show you, by far we are not expert at this. We're going to hit F6, however, and at F6 we can do something here with the model we can extrude out. And so if we look at this here, we're going to extrude, right? And we're going to grab and hold one and the other one as well, and we can then push out a given distance. And we'll go ahead and push it back. I don't know. For all we know, we were thinking we were drilling in about 6 inches. And hit OK, and that gets rid of that 1 box. Now what we can do in a second is we can bring in another sketch. But that said, we've got the one side. We can now create a second sketch, and we're going to grab the side here like that, and now this time we're going to bring in the, I guess, the front view, and we're going to go ahead and pull it down towards here, and you can see that that one didn't quite work. We're going to try to pull that to where it wants to be. So if we grab this, right, we're going to want to pull it eventually exactly to that spot. And when it does, we'll have something else we can deal with. So with that, kind of you've brought in your other things. We can finish my sketch, and we can go back here now, and with that extrude, and double click on this part, and we can go back to this first extrusion, and we can hit right click, and we can edit the sketch. We can change our extrusion if we know how. We can do all kinds of stuff. So let's see if we can change that extrusion. We want to change that extrusion probably to be the 8 inches it was supposed to be. So it would have helped to do that in the first place. Now it's actually just editing dimensions, so that's pretty unusual. I've never seen that before. So let me go ahead and push out some more things here just to show you that, in essence, if we go into the we actually go into the sketch. So we got the first sketch and we have the second sketch. So you're going to be going back and forth between sketches there, and in effect, finish sketch. Go back to the extrusion here. Edit the sketch. So that's the kind of back and forth that we can do with the blocks. That by far is not exactly what you want to do with sketch blocks, but that's a bad first attempt. So let me go ahead and do a new one and show you what you really do with sketch blocks. Once again, new, we're going to go to a standard part, open here. We're going to go ahead now and remember we're in a 2D part. We bring in our drawing. Simple block. Remember there are 3 blocks in that which we brought up and we made. We're going to make them Inventor blocks. That's the key thing. And this ability to look at sketch blocks, I will point you out to the manufacturing community, I think is what it's called in Autodesk. It's where you see most of the Inventor stuff. Autocad blocks to Inventor blocks. Hit finish there. Everything comes in. You then, however, get rid of these things. Now let's assume that these are 3 different parts and we want to link them somehow together. We grab everything here, right click, and we delete. At this point we can bring in one block after the other. We're going to bring in the front, we're going to bring in the top, and we're going to bring in the side. Okay, when we did that later on, we can go to constrain, and we're going to auto constrain that point to that point, and it pops there. And we're going to auto constrain that point to that point. And that's pretty good, but we'll also go ahead and put a circle here. And we're going to then auto constrain this point to the circle. And we're going to finally put a line on something here. We'll put a line across the page. And we're going to auto constrain, right click, done. We're then going to auto constrain that point to that line. And when we go ahead and say finish sketch and we start grabbing things and pulling them around, you'll realize how constrained they are. So that point of why in fact you are using blocks, this is the point. Not so much to do what we were showing you that you can project these things back, but that too. So learning to do a lot of good 2D sketch blocks in AutoCAD is not just about management. It gets you in the habit of doing them for things like SketchUp, for Inventor, when putting things together as a group, even within PowerPoint. If you block things up that are logical, and this is the first time that your 3 views are kind of logical things. You've got that, which is great about this. You can actually now go into this. Let's say that was your part. You're going to go ahead and push that one out 5, 4, and we're going to go ahead and you see that we do have some sort of part there that's there. So that how you manage sketch blocks, it's something that's definitely worth playing around with, but right now I just want you to see how important it is to make blocks. And then in this case, you might not have wanted to put things on layer 0 for the blocks, though that is our general fundamental rule. I'm going to go ahead and close this part out. Say no. I'm going to go back to this last part there and just see that out here, we're in this one here. We can now do extrude. We can push this one out and we're going to go backwards, click it backwards. We don't want to go there. We want to go maybe 4 inches. And we can do the same thing and go back again. We can do 2. We can grab extrude. We can hold that one, hold the shift key, grab 2 until you want to go backwards. I guess it was 5. And you get pretty close pretty soon to what you want to do with your drawing here. You can always in this program, of course, go back and then create another 2D sketch, and that's kind of the fundamental part here. Put a circle in, let's say, and now you can finish the sketch. Now with that circle you can extrude that way. Now you're going to tell it to go backwards and you're going to tell it to cut a hole. So right there you've cut your hole. So this is how it starts to look like. SketchUp will add another quick 2D sketch right there. We'll put a perhaps an ellipse in there. Finish sketch, and then once again you can do the same thing. You can extrude out, tell it you want to go backwards, and make it a hole, a cut. And in that, all of a sudden you can see the 3D modeling and what occurs very quickly off of 2D sketches. So definitely something to play around with if you've been doing hand sketches, and that's for what I wanted you to bring the scans in for. Thanks for listening.